So your plan was to grow some nice big leaves of lettuce to eat with your ham sandwich over the Christmas holidays. But instead of big nice leaves, you end up with something that looked like a budget Christmas tree. I think I may know what may have happened, and I have some tips to help you avoid this in the future. Let's get going. Hello everyone, thank you all so much for joining in. This is Dylan from the Trinidad channel, and I'm so happy that you made it for this video. If I got $1 for every time somebody asks me why their lettuce is growing up like a Christmas tree, so like this, and did they get the wrong type of lettuce? Did somebody sell them something bad? Did they do something wrong? Are they the worst gardener in the history of gardeners? I probably have a lot more dollars than I have right now, but it's something very, very normal. It's something called bolting, and we're going to talk a bit about it today. Why this happened to this lettuce, which is a perfectly fine lettuce that grew from a perfectly fine seedling. Nobody robbed me. And how come some lettuce look a bit more normal, like this one, but then others kind of go up quite literally in flames or towards the sky, like this one. As I said, the process here, where the lettuce grows up like a Christmas tree, is called bolting. Bolting is a process whereby certain plants, a lot of brassicas, such as your cauliflower, your broccoli, your cabbage, and plants like lettuce, they go to seed. Now, what does that mean? Plant like lettuce doesn't have a body where seed forms inside, like a tomatoes has that, pepper has that, cucumbers have the seeds inside, and that's how we're accustomed to seeing the seeds for these plants. Plants like lettuce, they don't have the seed inside. What actually happens is that the plant itself will have to go through a process before it can produce seeds. That process is called bolting. Bolting is when the plant, such as lettuce, will stop growing outwards. It'll stop putting on like the normal lateral growth, and it will start going up towards the sky, and eventually it will start producing a flower at the top here. You'll see a bunch of buds. Maybe you can see the buds right there. And from the buds, they will open up, they'll produce a flower. And underneath the flower itself, you're going to have a little pod. And that pod is what is going to give you seeds. And that is how we plant lettuce. And letting a plant bolt, like this plant here, is not a bad idea at all. The only thing about it is that once the process of bolting begins, this lettuce is no longer going to be delicious. So the leaves are going to be a bit more bitter, not inedible, just bitter, so a bit less tasty. And the plant itself is going to be pulling more nutrients, not for the leaves, but for the purpose of seed. Because remember, we love our plants, and our plants, I like to think they love us. But the plant really has one mission, and it's actually a mission that we all have as living things on this planet. The mission is to survive. And one of the ways in which we survive is by surviving ourselves, and this body has to survive, but also children. And children have to survive. And the plants are just like that, even more, because they don't have other aspirations. Like we have aspirations, we want to do so many things. Plants simply want to grow, produce their fruit, and in plants like lettuce, producing the fruit means flowering through the process of bolting and producing seeds, because that is how the plant is going to carry on its family. The genes of the plant is going to be able to go into our next generation when it flowers and produce seeds. So if you think about it, it's very logical that plants will bolt and want to bolt. But most people don't really want lettuce seeds. When you buy lettuce, you didn't think that you were going to put some seeds in a sandwich and eat it. No, you wanted these nice juicy leaves. And, well, actually, this one here has started to bolt a little bit as well. Not very much. I would have gotten it at a better chance so I could film the video a bit more naturally if I had the chance to film the video in time. But that didn't happen, so it starts to bolt a little bit. But still, this is not what I would consider fully bolted just yet. I can still save the leaves from this and use it. Still tasty. I will try one right now. Good. It's really good, right? So slight bitterness on the leaves itself. Maybe it's because it's one from the top. Let me try the bottom here. Okay. So this is one of the more bottom leaves. See, that's a lot sweeter. Lots more juice, more water, and that's one of the more natural leaves before it starts going up and then truly bolting. In which case, like leaves from this one, if I were to try a leaf from this one here, the top. This is going to be disgusting, but yep, disgusting. So basically, the plant itself is not going to taste very well, taste very good, sorry, when it is bolting. So therefore, we're going to want to talk about why exactly the plant bolted, how we can avoid it, so that we can have the harvest that we want. Now again, if you want to save lettuce seeds, which I advise you to do, save your seeds so you don't have to spend money on buying plants, because it does add up, then let your lettuce bolt from time to time. Not all your plants. One plant alone has to bolt and you can get 100 seeds from that one plant. But for the majority of people, your lettuce, you just simply want leaves from it. You just want it to be very simple. Get the leaf, pick the leaf, eat the leaf, and that's your harvest right there. So, sorry, I just need to finish chewing. Okay, so the first reason that your lettuce will bolt is underwatering. Lettuce is a plant that loves to be fully moist all the time. The roots of the lettuce does not want to be dry or feeling at all any kind of brittle moving through very dry soil. So you're going to need to keep your lettuce well watered, of course not flooding it out to cause root rot. And we have seen just recently how bad lettuce harvest can be when there's too much rain. So that is one thing. But right now in the dry season, you need to make sure and check on your lettuce. Sometimes lettuce needs to be watered 2 times a day in the dry season because the soil dries out so quickly, especially if it's in a container like what I have here. And a lot of you are growing in containers. So keep your soil nice and moist. What is going to happen is if the plant feels like it's not doing well in this world, it will bolt. Literally, it will say, I do not like this life. I want to die. Before I die, let me do my job towards nature, which is producing seeds. And from there, that's the end of your lettuce. It's going to bolt, produce seeds. No longer you're going to get good leaves. You're just simply going to get seeds from the lettuce plant if you leave it in. But it's not your fault to an extent if the lettuce bolts. What you have to do is just simply keep your lettuce, nice and moist. Doesn't mean you're a bad gardener if your lettuce bolted, but it could mean that you didn't water it properly. So if you're coming in and you're seeing the soil looking crusty on the top, you see the edge of the container starting to separate from the soil itself, that's a sign that your lettuce is way too dry and you need to fix that, or it could bolt on you. Even if it's young, if it's not a full mature lettuce, it could bolt on you still. Now, second reason that your lettuce could bolt is this one, I don't think that we need to worry too much about it, but it has to be mentioned. It is lack of nutrients. So if your lettuce doesn't have the right nutrients to grow, then it's not going to be happy at all, and it can't bolt on you because it doesn't feel like it's being appreciated. It doesn't feel like it's being fed, so it could bolt. So this is why we talk about using your good organic matter in your soil, making sure you have the microorganisms that are keeping your plant nice and happy, because as I always say, in the organic garden, we don't actually give our plants nutrition. We give them the environment whereby they can get nutrition. So with your animal manure, with your worm castings, with your worm tea, you can boost the microorganisms in the plant to make sure the plant is getting the right nutrition that it needs. It's very common, and it's very possible that your lettuce could be in a container that has soil with good nutrients, but because there's no organic matter, there's no life inside there, all the nutrients is tied up in massive compounds that the plant can't take up. So this is why we try to have as much organic matter in our soil itself, especially if we're trying to grow lettuce. Third reason that you can see your lettuce bolting is by pest pressure. If your lettuce is being attacked, the lettuce is going to say, I am not happy in this world, I am going to bolt. So the lettuce can go up, produce the seeds, and die, and let the insects eat the lettuce, right? So it's two things going on there. If the lettuce, well, actually it's a few things. If the lettuce is underwatered, or if it has a lack of nutrients, the lettuce can be stressed. When plants are stressed, they will send out stress hormones. The stress hormones can cause insects to smell the hormones, come find the plant that is suffering, and then start to eat the lettuce itself. The lettuce will say, okay, well, I'm being eaten, let me bolt, and it's one big cycle. So all in all, keep your lettuce happy. You won't have to worry about bolting. Number 4, a reason for bolting, again, could sometimes be too much of heat. Now, we live in Trinidad, so we're going to get a lot of heat. Lettuce doesn't actually like very arid conditions, and water is going to be helping this process. If your plants are being sprinkled with water, maybe 2 times a day, 3 times a day, you have a sprinkler going, then that can help the situation. If the plant itself is facing a lot of heat, this is an issue that is going to affect people more in the temperate countries, because you all sometimes can have summers that are as long as 12, 13 hours of sunlight. That's a huge amount of sunlight. Lettuce, it does need sun to grow, but not so much. If it's very hot and it's a lot of sunlight all the time, just baking on your lettuce, and you can't water it in time to keep it nice and cool, it could also bolt. And the last reason that I have seen lettuce bolt, which is something that you have the soil, very good soil conditions, you have the not too much of heat, you have watering under control, there is no pest pressure, there is not any of the other factors that I mentioned that I'm forgetting at this point in time. Just simply your lettuce being too old. Lettuce needs to be picked by a certain time. In my estimation, now this is going to be different for each garden, I imagine, that, and also different varieties, different growing conditions, all of that. Your lettuce, if I plant a plug of lettuce, then that plug of lettuce usually will give me a good harvest, a nice big, so when I say big, I'm talking about a good big lettuce leaf like what we have here, right? A nice big lettuce leaf in 5 weeks. So within a month to 5.5 weeks, that's the prime time for your lettuce to be ready and to pick it. Now, if you leave your lettuce, you're busy, that happens to me all the time, you grow lettuce, maybe you have more than you need, or maybe you just don't have time to go and pick it, and you just leave it like that, the plant is actually going to get fed up of living. So it's happy, but it's not going to be happy forever. So eat your lettuce on time, and you're going to enjoy the lettuce. Lettuce, it tastes the best when it's young. So I mean, within that 3, 4, 5, early 5 weeks there, perfect lettuce. Sweet, full of water, nice, amazing. But beyond that, every day counts. Every day after 5 into 6 weeks, every single day that you don't pick it is a day closer to the lettuce simply hitting that switch and saying, okay, I'm not happy with this life anymore. Time for me to bolt. Or maybe I'm happy with this life, but I've been here too long. Time to bolt and get out of here. And that is what has happened with this lettuce, because this lettuce is fine. It's perfectly watered. The soil inside here is good. There's not too much of heat. It gets like 7 hours of sunlight, which is perfect for lettuce. And no pest pressure at all. So this lettuce here, simply for staying too long. But I'm going to be keeping it because I do want the seeds from this lettuce, this sort of, what's the name for it? I forgot this in another video. I'll be very sad if I forgot it. The Batavia lettuce, this Batavia lettuce here, that I want the seeds for this. So I'm going to be keeping this. Now, this, I'm not sure if this was a hybrid or an heirloom, so I'll see what happens with the seed. Remember, if it's an heirloom, I'll get an exact replica of this plant here. If it is a hybrid, then I may get a replica of it, but more than likely I'm going to get a different variety of this same lettuce. But in any case, I'm keeping the seeds because I like the leaves, and I'm really hoping for the best when I save these seeds here. So pretty much those are the reasons why you can sometimes see a lettuce that is growing up like this in your garden, like a Christmas tree, whereas others would just look regular like this one here, even though this one, as I said, just started the bolting process, but it's not fully in it yet. It's nice and wide. Right here I have another one. This is a butter crunch that is bolting. You see the stem here, right? This one hasn't started forming the head just yet. You see there is still like leaves at the top here, but the leaves, as I said, it's still edible. It's not the end of the world if your lettuce has started to bolt. It's just going to be a bit more bitter. Some people like that bitter taste. I don't know if I really like it, but it's still edible. Okay, so there we go. Very simple process, nothing complicated at all when it comes to bolting. If you do, however, have any further questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can contact us on any of the platforms, Instagram, TikTok, or on Facebook. I'll be happy to help you through the entire process of bolting and just understand it and see how we can avoid it. And of course, get your plants to harvest and eat it and enjoy the way that you would like to do that. Now, if you know somebody who would be interested in growing more healthy organic food, or somebody who could be interested in this concept of bolting, feel free to share this video with them. And remember that you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and on Facebook, and you can feel free to tag us on any of those platforms, because it's such a blessing, such an amazing thing to see you all in your gardens growing and spending time with your family. Remember, as always, this has been Dylan from the Trinidad Gardener channel reminding you to get up and get growing. Take care.